It's a very significant day because aside from the fact that it actually brought together a lot of heads of states and representatives of various countries in the sub-region, it also is a very important milestone.
Abusia odwe no kopie mu Burkina Faso dia mprempren de the Burkina Faso president Captain Ibrahim Traoré abusia mprempren de the fourth republic president ana abusia ogina ho ma Ghana Jerry John Rawlings no abusia mprempren de Burkina Faso president and name one major street after Jerry John Rawlings. Then as a okchirima oko Burkina Faso ma abusia street bi wo ha na se kwan bi wo ha ye de owura Jerry John Rawlings idin and out so Burkina Faso abusia mo chirima JJ adwuma obeye no abusia na so nipa enti na Captain Ibrahim Traoré or the ASA street no ato Jerry John Rawlings.
It's a very significant day because aside from the fact that it actually brought together a lot of heads of states and representatives of various countries in the sub-region, it also is a very important milestone in terms of a country understanding the significance of its history and paying tribute to its history and making sure that current generations don't forget their history in order to be able to chart a forward path. And I think that the mausoleum that has been set up in honor of the late Captain Thomas Sankara and his 12 comrades who were slain in 1987 is really just a testament of the value that Burkina Faso places on its history and on its heroes. And the presence of Ghana here, a big delegation from Ghana, as well as representatives of President Rawlings' family, myself and two of my siblings here on behalf of the family as well, is really a show of solidarity of what the history that our two countries have in common. But I think that beyond that, it's also an important milestone in that with the current geopolitics, it serves as a rallying point for many of the countries in the sub-region to perhaps take a moment to reflect on what it means to be African, what it means to be West African, and how we identify ourselves within this complex, what has become in many cases a proxy war in the sub-region. And it's important because it gives us an opportunity to understand that the youth of our continent really have a very high expectation of where they would like the future of this continent to go. And we need to make sure that in providing leadership and governance, we're providing hope as well. And this monument is supposed to represent hope. But I think it's also a strong message to us in Ghana. I believe within the next 24 hours, there's going to be a street that's officially named after the late Flight Lieutenant President Jerry John Rawlings. They're honoring our former president. I think my father, yes, of course, thank you. I think it's something that if as Ghanaians we haven't taken notice of, we should recognize the fact that we should honor our past. We should honor our past leaders, and certainly the fact that they have singled out the late President Jerry John Rawlings is significant for Ghana as a country. And I believe that moving forward, we need to, in terms of our relationship between Ghana and Burkina Faso, need to understand that the nature of our porous borders, the significance of our common history, means that we have to find creative ways in which we can collaborate to help resolve this issue of violent extremism and terrorism in the sub-region, if indeed we want to create a brighter future for generations to come.
Thank you very much.
Thanks for your time.
I think it's something that should have happened at this magnitude a while ago. The Thomas Sankara's foundation have done their best to keep his legend alive, and we've always been happy to support. President Flight Lieutenant JJ Rawlings was certainly, my father was certainly a huge supporter of the foundation, and he was a very close friend of Thomas Sankara. So it means a lot to be here, and it means a lot that the whole of Africa was more or less here to support this momentous occasion. United we will rise, and divided we will fall. That's the way I look at it. I think now more than ever we have the opportunity to come together as a continent. Many have come before who have tried to accomplish this, but I feel that the atmosphere is perfect for that kind of unity. We see what is happening in the West, and for once I think we're in a position to look inward at ourselves and see how we can progress as a continent, not just, divided whereby everybody is doing something in their own little corner. And together I think we could be a force for good in this world. So I think let's streamline things, let's work towards a better future, and I think our leaders are on the precipice of making that happen. So I think we're in a good place, but certainly united we will be able to accomplish that.
Unveiling of the mausoleum for Thomas Sankara, the other 12 guys who, were killed alongside. I think it was very well organized, and it's important that the personalities who came, you could see that there was quite some participation from across West Africa and Central Africa, and also from Europe and from the Americas and all. So, well, I think it was well, organized. And, President Sankara and his people really deserve the kind of honor that they got. There is so much to talk about Sankara, but to just put it short, Sankara and President Rawlings were contemporaries. So, and they believed in the same kind of direction. They were two charismatic leaders in this part of the world. And then one of them got killed. So, President Rawlings carried on. So you can see that once you want to talk about Sankara, you have to look at him from that perspective, that these were two revolutionaries from this part of the world, who were very close to each other, cooperated with each other. One got killed, one carried on and became, a civilian president and all that. So that is Sankara for you. I think Ghana is doing quite a great deal. You realize that, when Burkina Faso, Mali, and Niger declared that they had formed Ghana's president was the first, in ECOWAS to come down to visit them, to talk to them, and to find out what exactly was happening. His Excellency, yes, President John Dramani Mahama. So you can see that is along the lines of what we are doing. We are building up the cooperation along those lines. So our cooperation is, and that is why we are here, for instance. The President of Ghana would have been here, except that that did not work, for both of them, both presidents, because the President of Burkina Faso was also not at the celebration. So, and we are here. So you can see that we are building, the cooperation is building quite some momentum, and I think that eventually, we will all succeed.
It's an honor to stand with you this afternoon on this very special date of May the 17th, 2025, for the official inaugural ceremony given to the Thomas Sankara and his 12 companions mausoleum here at the Thomas Sankara Memorial. My pleasure to sum up in a few words the first two speeches delivered at the introduction of the ceremony. In fact, we opened up enthusiastically with the welcoming address of Mr. Maurice Konate, High Commissioner of the Province of Kadiogo, President of the Special Delegation of Ouagadougou. He underlined that it is with great joy and deep emotion that he took the floor on this historic day to welcome all of you to Ouagadougou, capital of our beloved homeland, Burkina Faso. For him, your warm and numerous presence is a proof that our collective memory is alive and that history continues to bring us together. We are gathered here today to inaugurate the mausoleum of Thomas Sankara and his companions, a memorial to those who sacrificed their lives for the ideals of justice, dignity, sovereignty, and progress. He insisted that this mausoleum is much more than a monument. It's a symbol. It embodies the spirit of the August 1983 revolution. It reminds all of us of the unshakable commitment of President Thomas Sankara and his 12 companions who fell on October the 15th, 1987, and it calls on all of us to pursue the dream of a Burkina with integrity and standing. This project, supported by the nation's driving forces and carried by the will of the people, today finds its full meaning, that of doing justice to memory, educating generations, and promoting strong patriotic values. In this respect, he solemnly appealed to all of the inhabitants of Ouagadougou and to all the people of Burkina Faso and all visitors to make this place their own, to make it a place for meditation and reflection, but also a place for passing on our history and on our struggles. He wished on one hand that this mausoleum will live to the rhythm of memory, but also to the rhythm of life, exchanges, and cultural and civic sharing. On the other hand, he wishes that this ceremony will also be an opportunity for you to discover or to rediscover the human, artistic, and historical riches of our capital. Ladies and gentlemen, after this engaging and inspiring speech of Mr. Konate, the president of Thomas Sankara Memorial International Committee, retired Colonel Major JJ Traoré. He took the floor on behalf of the International Committee to welcome all the attendees and to salute the presence of their excellencies in this place charged with history and intense emotions. For him, this ceremony is a significant step forward in their mission to promote and to perpetuate the memory and ideals of our nation's proclaimed hero, Captain Thomas Sankara. Having allowed Thomas Sankara and his 12 companions to be buried on the very spot where they were savagely murdered on October 15, 1987, has made this great memorial project a tangible reality. And effectively, here we are before a mausoleum that rises proudly to the heavens, who he strongly believes wanted it to be the work of the architect Diébedo Francis Kéré, our world-renowned and respected compatriot. Recognizing the merits of values of this exceptional man, President Sankara, means also giving wings to the ambitions of the nations. In a national and international context made more complex by terrorism, spawned by imperialism and neocolonialism, served by their local and henchmen and armchair slaves, His Excellency, the President of Faso Head of State, continues to forge ahead despite the obstacles, strong in popular support, convinced and determined to ensure the happiness of all citizens based on the general interest, the common good, and shared responsibility. He recalled the date of October 15, 2022, when His Excellency, the President of Faso Head of State, had just taken up his responsibilities to turn Burkina Faso's fortune around and didn't hesitate to come here to the memorial to receive the torch of the People's Democratic Revolution from the hands of the late President Pierre Ouedraogo. We were all convinced at the time that he was the heir, the relay, who could take over and continue the triumphal race towards the horizon of our happiness. From now on, certainly Thomas Sankara and his 12 companions will henceforth rest in these places of remembrance in dignity for prosperity, which will undoubtedly inspire Africans and citizens of the world. I thank you all for your kind attention.